A very wise man who's sitting on this panel told me once, we were talking about the upward mobility of the average American. Can you move from the bottom, I think it was quintile, to the top quintile? And he said, look, if you do these four things, you can be very successful in the United States, and you can move from the bottom at least to the second to the top. Number one, he said, maximize your education. Now, that may mean you're an auto mechanic and you go take classes on transmissions, but maximize your education. I think this whole concept that we've moved to of believing that getting a college education is bad just doesn't line up with the data. It just doesn't. I think education matters. Second thing he said was, you got to work really hard. You're not gonna move to the top by not working hard. You have to put in the time and the effort. The third thing that he said was, spend less than you make. That you have to have some money set aside for savings. And the fourth one he said was, marry somebody who has that same set of values. Now, I think those are four great ones. When I repeat what he has said to me in the past, I add a fifth. You have to get into assets. Now, home ownership. Home ownership is an amazing thing. So if you decide to go buy stock today as an equity, basically whatever cash you have, you can buy that equity, right? And I think the Standard & Poor's, they say that the increase is somewhere around 12% if you leave it in there for a long enough period of time. Home ownership.
I want to invest where you invest if you get 12% over.
Well, I guess you have to buy the index to be able to do that. But believe me, if you want to know how to buy stocks, buy the opposite of what I buy. I bought Tesla, right? So, but the point is that if you go buy a home, you can lever it. Interestingly enough, you can lever it with a loan that is non-recourse. Right? Usually, when you borrow money, you guarantee your other assets that you have to pay that back. We've decided in home ownership, you don't have to do it. You can borrow for 30 years. You're borrowing it at a very low rate, and you're borrowing 95% of the value. As that goes up by 7%, let's just say that you borrowed today at 6% to buy a house. Well, you're obviously, if that inflation rate continues on, you're going to do really well. If it gets higher than that, you're going to be really glad you did it. And if it gets lower than that, guess what? You're going to refinance your home. Right? You're going to go back to the marketplace and get a loan to borrow it at a cheaper rate. So I don't know if rates go up or go down. Here's what I know. Either way, owning the home is a value. And there's no doubt in my mind that is the single most important thing that you should do. You shouldn't buy one that's outside your range. You shouldn't, like the number that they use today, oftentimes when trying to sell a home, is you can go up to 50% of your income. I would recommend 30, 35% is kind of the right place for a new home buyer to be. Elliot was shaking his head no, so I'll let him comment on that.
Yeah, the traditional number, if you don't want to be house poor, is 30%.
Okay, and that to me makes sense. But being in an asset, there's no way wages are going to keep up with inflation. And if what I think is going to happen with tariffs are going to happen with tariffs, Elliot may disagree on the tariff thing, inflation's not going away. And again, if it does, refinance your home at a lower rate. That'll be the good news. You'll have an asset already there to be able to do it.
Don't have much to contribute except to observe that my home that the city of Phoenix would not allow to be built today would sell for approximately twice what I think it's actually worth.
And more importantly, again, you built up equity through doing that.
Get in the game. That's what you're saying, and that's absolutely what you have to do. You have to get in the game. If it's a lower priced house, you're still in the game. You're still leveraging that 80, 90, 95% of your investment. Get in the game as soon as it's feasible for you to do so.